Welcome to the Base Coat Brainiac podcast. My name is Austin Hauser. I'm Chief Brainiac over at Base Coat Marketing. If you own a painting business and you're listening in, you're in the right place. So today, I have the pleasure to introduce David Cook of DeFranco Painting and Wallpaper out of Huntley, Illinois. I've had the pleasure of getting to know David personally and professionally over the last year as a client of ours and as a friend. You may recognize him from his appearances on HGTV in our recent podcast with Sherwin-Williams. David, I appreciate you taking time out of the day to come talk. Thanks for being here, man.
Glad we were able to make it work. This would be fun.
Awesome. So, David, today we are here to talk about you and your company, where you started, how you got to where you're at today. And the reason I wanted to have you on in particular is you have a very unique marketing strategy to get your business live in front of your prospects. And I really want to dive into that today. But before we do that, let's start with you and where you came from. So tell us your story, man. How did you get started in painting? What got you going?
Believe it or not, my grandmother actually got me painting. So every time we went over her house, we always painted something when we were little. Always painting something. It didn't matter. We could paint a closet, and next time we went over there for the weekend, I was painting that closet again. So I think she kind of did it to keep me out of the way, honestly. But it was always fun, and we always had fun with her. And oh my gosh, I had no complaints because, man, that woman made some amazing pierogi. So I didn't mind paint closets.
I am from Pittsburgh, so if you want to talk about pierogies, I'm your man. So yeah, it sounds like she might have just been keeping you busy, but that ended up turning into a pretty fruitful career for you.
Well, the painting was always just more something I did. I actually was a locomotive engineer for 16 years, and I had a minor back injury, and the doctor hinted, he said, you can go back to being an engineer. He says, but I'm just warning you, you're going to be back here, get some kind of disc fusion at some point. So while you're getting your therapy, I'd consider something else. So while I was off sick, I was doing murals for our son's rooms. So I did a couple Cubs murals in their bedrooms, and that led to a couple people, hey, can you let me paint something for my son? And it just kind of grew from that point. And then someone took a picture, got it to a designer, and that kind of grew from there. And then that went from, well, if you can do murals, can you just do some regular painting? Sure. Can you do some faux painting, which I had no idea how to do? And I started doing that, took some classes, which led to wallpaper. And through the course of that, led to cabinets. And it's been growing. It's been a progressive grow ever since.
Awesome. So tell me about your business. How long have you been in business for? When did you officially take the leap into becoming a full-time business owner on the painting side? Take us down memory lane.
We actually had our business since 2005. That's when I was off injured, and started doing the painting. It's pretty much been our family. So between my sons, our Daphne and I, all of our kids have done something in it. So it's pretty much family or family friends. We have a bigger job. We'll have people come and help for the day or whatever. And then probably about 6 months before COVID was, I can't keep up with this anymore. I really need help. And that led first getting a couple employees full-time. And then probably about 3 months before COVID, I really need help. So we really went to the perspective of, I'm going to need to really do more sales, less work, and start bringing people on to help. So that was probably about 3 months before COVID that we had a couple. And then right at COVID, we had we had 4 employees, I think, at that time. And then 2 of them quit. Once COVID hit, they quit. They didn't want to be in people's homes. But the 2 employees that we still have came during that first 2 weeks of shutdown, and they've been stellar employees.
So good. So let's talk about your team a little bit. So it's you, some family members, and you said 2 full-time employees. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I have Daphne, my wife. She does all of our financial stuff. And when she's not doing financial stuff, it's ministry. So we have our non-for-profit that she works on, and then she does some prison ministry. So she keeps her hands busy when she's not doing our financial stuff. Our oldest, he just kind of walked away from it here a couple months ago. He's a full-time fireman. Then we have Anthony and Chad. They're both full-time. So it's great because they've taken on that role of multiple hats. So they've really taken on learning everything that we can do. So it was just painting, and now they can do wallpaper, they can spray cabinets, and they can paint. So they've been a really huge asset because they can kind of go wherever. And then we just recently, through the course of the summer with people, we had our spring exodus, which has been happening every year now. So we kind of I wasn't really prepared for it because some of the people we just hired and they left right away to go to someplace else for more money. And so we, through some persuasion, started taking on subcontractors, independent contractors. So we've been using independent subcontractors for just the painting part of it, and then wallpaper, cabinets, the higher level stuff, we do that with our employees. That's kind of where we do that now.
So let's talk about your subs, your employees. What did that hiring process look like on your end? How did you go about finding those subs? I know that is a challenge of most of our clients.
Yeah, you know what? We had some good help coaching wise as we were doing it, but I don't want to say the problem, but the challenge was that as we're trying to figure it out, so was everyone else because it's COVID. So it was new to everybody. So what worked 6 months before that wasn't working anymore. And it seems like it's been as fast as the paint business is changing and things around us are changing. It seems like the hiring process is evolving and changing just as fast. One of my really good friends does staffing for corporate, and I was sharing him some of the challenges, and he's laughing at me. Like, what are you laughing at? So it's funny because I didn't think I'd see this happening in the trades as fast as it is, but this is what happens with corporate America. Everyone wants to be an independent contractor. No one wants to have the boss be told what to do. So now you're dealing with people that want to do the work, but want to do it as a project. So they'll take on a whole house, but then they want to take a couple days off or a week off. He says that for him, they'll do an IT project for 4 months and they're gone for a month. They come back. He said, so it's kind of interesting that that's happening with you as a paint contractor. That's what we're seeing. We found some really great contractors, great people, but we are treating them like employees, training, making sure what they know, they're getting background checks. We still want to make sure they have like-minded as far as values, what they're doing and why. So even though they're not employees, I still consider them part of our team. They're on our website. Their pictures are there. Here's our vetted team of craftsmen. So here's the ones that are employees. Here's the ones that are independent contractors. This is who will be coming to your house. It's kind of email that customers will get. So I kind of held on to it pretty tight. One of the employees realized people don't care as long as the work's getting done and it's getting done right. They don't care. So once I let that go, it made things a lot easier.
So good. Now, okay, we talked about your team. Let's talk about your company as a whole. You've been in business since 2005. Where did you start? Where are you at today, revenue-wise? Where are you looking to go in the future?
We started just as long as I could pay my bills, I was happy. And I didn't really know what I was going to do. And everything's been evolving. So I had a really good designer, Martha. She moved to Houston. It was awesome. She really knew how to feed my ego. So, she knew what I was good at and she kept giving it to us. And so it was just like, this is so awesome. I can't believe I'm doing this for a living. Then she moved and it was like, crap, I'm going to have to work now. So then it was really how we're going to get customers. So it started off, it's basically that everything was paid. Then last year was probably our height so far, cracked the 1 million mark, which is really, real awesome. It was a lot more work than I thought I was going to be. We're not going to hit it this year. We've just had too many struggles with staffing. So June was great. It was probably my best sales month ever. And I did all the sales, and then I didn't have anybody do the work because everyone was leaving, and I hadn't started the subcontractors yet. So we lost quite a bit of steam in that, and we've been trying to get it back at the same time that it seems like most contractors as of October now are having the same issue of trying to get people to call or get some leads to get in the door. So it's been a struggle the last 2 months because we're definitely down for what we want to be. But I'm still hoping we'll hit 900 this year. I don't know if that's going to happen, but that's our still goal, and we wanted to hit 1.5 next year, and within 3 years, our goal was 3.
Love it.
And the biggest reason is we want to fund our non-for-profits. So, at certain numbers, I know that's 10% completely funds Daphne being full-time, and it funds everything we want to do with that non-for-profit, and helps. Basically, it's a camp for girls that have been sexually abused. So it's a huge thing for us that we want to make sure it gets taken care of.
Painting with a purpose, I think, is really something that a lot of us need to look deep on. Is what is the purpose? Why do we get out of bed every day? It's one thing if you're motivated by money. That's, I think, a very shallow way to get motivated to do your job. But when you have a motivation like that, it makes what you do enjoyable. And I think a lot of us can definitely take some notes on that and implement something today that would impact their life positively tomorrow.
You said painting with a purpose. Did I tell you I bought that domain name?
No, I did not know that.
It was a 3 in the morning thing, like 3 or 4 in the morning. I woke up and like painting with a purpose. Went online, GoDaddy was available, bought it. And then now, so if you look up painting with a purpose, it goes right to our About Us page where I have a video, Painting with Purpose.
Well, that's something we're definitely going to look at leveraging from a marketing standpoint, David. So that's awesome. Okay, so let's talk about your business, because your model, the way you do it is, I think, unlike the majority of our clients. So correct me if I'm wrong, but you don't do any exterior painting today. Is that right?
We do no exterior painting whatsoever.
So let's talk about that a little bit. So you focus on cabinet painting, interior painting, wallpaper. Why those services, and why does that help you succeed?
I think the biggest push from that is I hate being on ladders. I hate dealing with it's going to rain, if it's not going to rain, the seasonality. There's more complaints. We get more complaints from people that have people out, the paint is bubbling or it's peeling after a little while because things haven't been done right. And most people don't want to pay for it to be done right, that we found. And I just didn't want to deal with the seasonality, and I didn't want to deal with weather scheduling conflicts. And then through 07, 08, when everything kind of went bad, regular painting wasn't great. So we did a lot of insurance work, and it kind of really got me thinking of what is recession proof outside of insurance and people with money. So, we push ourselves as to try and go wallpaper, because if you can, not everybody wallpapers, but if you can wallpaper, you can paint. But just because you can paint doesn't mean you can wallpaper. And wallpaper is more of a higher end entry point. So if we're already into a home doing wallpaper at a higher rate of pay, it's not that big of a stretch that we can start turning that into painting also. So that was my theory.
The thing I love about that model is it's the concept of simple scales. So if you become an industry expert in one particular niche of your overall industry, it allows you to scale a lot more effectively, right? You can dial in those SOPs, train your team. You don't have to worry about the variability of the season, which I love that mindset. There's a lot of guys that love the exterior painting just due to the fact that it's low prep work. You can knock it out, high yield on the other side as far as revenue goes, but it can be difficult to schedule depending on where you're at in the country. And obviously you being up in Illinois, I imagine the weather has a pretty big impact up there on that, your ability to service that particular service in your market.
Sure. Yeah, even interior. It's cold, rainy, and humidity. Paint's not drying inside either.
And let's talk about your ideal customer profile. So your ICP, we all should have one. Who do you primarily target in your local market?
Married, owns their home. I can't tell by the cars, but I mean, if they have foreign cars, they're in Whole Foods. If they're into organic foods, they're in, I just know. And believe it or not, dog owners. Those 5 things have been consistent with probably 90, 95% of our customers.
I'm curious about the dog owners. Have you noticed any particular point or pain point with dog owners that has brought you out to their house more often than not?
It's more of a fluke that we get there and almost all of them have dogs.
So good. Yeah, I love the fact that you're picking up on that, because those are things that, if you dial that in, if you know your audience to that granular level, we can target that. And it's great. The more information you have, the better results you can expect. Now, okay, let's get into the weeds, because I do want to talk about something that makes your marketing strategy rather unique amongst our other clients. And that is your ability to produce content. Now, I know we've already touched on this on our previous Sherwin-Williams podcast, but I'd like to go a little deeper here and talk about exactly what that looks like. So we both have read the book, They Ask You Know by Marcus Sheridan. That's our underlying marketing strategy here at Base Coat Marketing. So we definitely align with that. But let's talk about that. How have you interpreted that, and how do you put that marketing strategy into place on your side?
I don't know how I came about it. Through a podcast, and I can't remember if someone told me or I found it, but Marcus Sheridan, and at that time, the podcast was called The Sales Line, which it's still there. If no one has heard or listened to Marcus Sheridan, go find that podcast, because it really does dial down his struggles during 08 with his pool company, what he did and why, and all the really drives everything. It just makes perfect sense. And at the time, I didn't have money to be spending. I didn't have money to spend on Austin. I think he was in the business at the time. But there wasn't a lot of money to spend on website stuff. So what can I do personally to get people to come to find us? And that was blogging. And then the blogging turned to videos because people are watching video than necessarily reading blog posts. Now it's the theory of they ask, you answer. If whatever questions a customer is asking is content that you need to create, because for every one person that's thinking that, there's only going to be maybe 10% of the people that are brave enough to ask it. So people are at home, on their phone, on their computer, looking at whatever it is. They need to find that content. And whatever that question is, if you're the one that has provided the answer they're looking for, trust is immediately built. And the sales process is cut in half because you don't have to sell what you do. They already know.
Perfect. It's a great explanation. So you're basically identifying pain points and answering those pain points. You become the industry expert in your local market. It's fantastic. It's a great strategy. I think a lot of people overanalyze that. They start looking at like search volume online and trying to figure out what's trending and what's not. But that's not the point of this whole concept. Is there's going to be, even if it's small, a certain level of highly engaged traffic out there that is going to be searching for these pain points. And let's give some examples. So you create a bunch of YouTube videos, you write a bunch of blog posts. What are some examples of trending videos or posts that you have found that maybe perform better than others?
I have not figured that out. The highest video we have is we were at home killing bees. I had to kill bees, and I have bees, but we had a beehive that went rogue, and so I didn't know how to kill them. And someone told me Dawn dish soap, so I tried it and it worked. I did a quick video. Killing bees with Dawn dish soap, avoid chemicals and be organic. That deal went through the roof. But the other top two would be, believe it or not, one is how to remove a Thomasville dresser drawer. We had to remove a drawer because we were painting the furniture, and I didn't know how. It took me forever to figure it out. If it's taking me this long, someone else is having the problem. So I did a quick video on that. And yeah, that one, I think we've hit 100,000 plus on that one. And then the other one was Miele. I think it was Miele, or I can't remember. It was refrigerator panels for refrigerator fronts. So how to remove a refrigerator panel. And that's the other one. I think probably is the next highest one. So again, whatever pain point is. We did 4 videos this morning, and it was just on what we're doing based off questions that I've gotten in the past 3 days of what's my oak cabinet going to look like. I've done blog posts on it already. Done video posts on it already, but I did another one because that means people aren't finding them. So something I said isn't registering on Google. Something I said isn't registering to the customer. So I'm doing another one, and it'll just go on our YouTube channel and our cabinet painting. So when they find one, they'll just keep on that same playlist of other videos. It'll go into our sales process. So what you can expect by painting oak cabinets, it'll be, here's another video of what it'll look like.
I'll tell you what. How about now?
I don't know. What the heck?
All right. So technology, that's part of our job. That's why when it fails, we get paid. So that works out. All right. So we're talking about some of your videos that you've created and some of those that have been trending and work better than others. What was interesting about a lot of what you said has nothing to do with painting. Removing drawers, removing a fridge front. That to me is, it seems incredible. That gets the most traction. So I want to make sure that we point that out, because I think a lot of people just assume that, hey, we need to write content that's specific to our industry and what we do. And that's not the case, right?
No, you're solving a pain point. So, those are problems people have. Well, how can we help? And, that's our biggest thing. How can we help you? So if we can help with that video, perfect. I'd probably say the other videos that it was kind of a fluke, but the other videos was testing. So here's our testing of whatever. Here's our experience with whatever. Versus, I got upset with a customer that we were painting for because they picked the paint and they picked a paint from a big box store that was supposed to be flat. We kept telling them it's shiny. They kept arguing with us like it's not. It was back and forth, and it didn't end well at all. So to prove my point, I went and bought a gallon of that paint, and I did a board, put it on with a dead flat, and then I did this name brand one. And I did the video. I sent it to them to show them the difference. This is flat. This is not. That one has actually got a lot of views. So, versus, I think, are probably the best title. This versus that, those have actually done pretty well.
And I want to ask, how much time do you think you invest into creating these videos versus, you're going to be doing these things anyways. So, right. So it sounds like you're just leveraging time that you would have already had, but you're sharing that time with other people. Is that correct?
Yeah. I've kind of gotten dial it down a little bit. The learning curve on some of the stuff can be tricky. So I'm using my phone, and once in a while I have an external mic, but usually I don't. But I just have the phone on there. I have one app called Duo, so it has a little camera in the corner, so I can talk while I'm walking around showing people. So my newest thing is, hey, it's David Cook, and I say the town and what we're doing in the intro outside the house. Let's go take a look. And I'm going in and then doing our video walk around of what we're doing. And I just use iMovie, put them together. I do a thumbnail picture on Canva, and then I just upload it to YouTube. I share it to Facebook personal, Facebook business, LinkedIn, and then my Facebook. It's kind of weird because you always tell me Instagram goes to Facebook, but my Facebook goes to Instagram.
So you can go both ways.
But that's how I set it up.
Awesome.
So we decided how do we leverage what we're doing now, and started doing a Google search. Came across one of Marcus Sheridan's blog posts about using YouTube as SEO, since YouTube is the number 2 search engine right now outside of Google. Putting what you do in, as you're saying the video, saying what you're doing is being recorded and picked up by YouTube. And then when they transcribe that, it's being picked up by YouTube and Google. And then you put the same thing as a tag, put the same thing in the description. So that way you've got 4 types of SEO from one piece of content, and it's 100% free. That's what Google's looking for. So what they want.
Nailed it. So leveraging the fact that Google listens to all of the videos you upload to YouTube, transcribes it within its algorithm. So if you say what you're doing and where you're doing it, that video is going to hold more weight in that local market. So if somebody's searching in Huntley, Illinois for painters, guess whose videos are going to show up above any of the organic results? David's. And leveraging that across social media, LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, it's something that you can really start to generate some traction, knowing that the more you feed that algorithm, views, impressions, likes, the more everything else downstream, your website, those blog posts are going to start ranking higher in results as well. It's a very holistic strategy, but I would like to know, on let's say a weekly basis, how much time do you think you invest into actually creating these videos?
This morning, I probably spent with taking the video, doing the little edits. I'll probably spend about an hour for the 4 of them. But on average, in a given day, I try and do one a day. So if I spend 10 minutes, I don't think I'm spending more than 10 minutes doing that.
Okay. So I imagine that took you a while to dial in that process. Do you have an actual SOP for that? Or is that something that you just manage based on your own experience and kind of what works and what doesn't work in the past?
I have just kind of, written down what's been working, but that keeps changing with software and different platforms and the apps. So as they change, I have to kind of change also. So I have kind of what we do. And I'm trying to keep it simple. I've been trying to get our guys in the field to do some of these. So I've got to the point where they will do time-lapse videos. So I bought them all tripods. I pay it's $40 a month. We pay for their cell phone service because it's data. So I gave them a tripod. This is kind of what we're looking for. If you don't want to say anything, you don't have to say anything, but just do a time-lapse video. So they'll just do a time-lapse video of something that they're doing, and we'll put that on different areas. So I haven't quite gotten other people to do it yet, but I know once we do, it's just going to make it even more powerful, because the people have say in doing it. Probably to incentivize them to, hey, if you do one of these, I'll give you $20 for every one you do. Try to see. And I haven't taken them up on it yet. I think they did once, but that was it. They didn't want to be on camera per se, which is fine. So it's just a matter of how can we do things better? I know you and I have talked several times on with the videos, what's the best way to do it. And I still don't know, since we're getting away from paid on Facebook. I've been putting the YouTube videos on my Facebook page because I want to drive YouTube, honestly.
Totally.
And since we're getting paid now we've reached all those thresholds, so now it's even more of a reason. I kind of want to make money off that stuff. We'll take that video and I'll put it as a reel through. I'll upload it to Instagram because it'll put to Facebook as a reel. I don't do any links on that one, but then I'll still put the Facebook. On Facebook, I'll still do the YouTube link to see the video. So that's
Awesome.
That's what I've been doing.
So good. So when we're looking at the videos you're creating, it sounds like you have your team actually investing in that as well now. Is that correct?
I'm pushing for it. So yeah, trying to get them to buy in because I know the more they have buy-in, the more success we're going to have.
Yeah. And it's so good. When we look at marketing tactics, particularly on the digital side, right? You can either pay for leads or you can invest your time into content. And that is true across social media, Google. You either have to feed the machine with your time, creating new content that's helpful, it's valuable, or you're going to have to pay for that traffic. David, you really have took the approach that, again, we have internalized here at Base Coat Marketing, which is that organic approach. And the overall results you get from that are unlimited, knowing that you're not paying for individual leads at that point. Solid strategy. I love it. So outside of YouTube, you have some other very interesting, creative promos, marketing strategies that you've used in the past. I know you mentioned bees. Let's touch on that for a moment because you do something unique with honey. What does that look like?
So let me see if I got one here. I got one in my backseat. So we started keeping bees and everyone loves honey. So we did it as a fluke for a trade show because we're at a big trade show. How are we going to stand out? I didn't want to give all that tchotchke crap away because it's just junk. And, we've got piles of it that we're throwing away. So I want to give something. What are they going to remember us for? And I can't remember what book I was reading. She kept talking about, how's your marketing sticky? How's your marketing sticky? And I was listening to the book as we're processing honeybees. I'm like, oh my gosh, honey. There's nothing, what's more stickier than honey? So I bought a whole bunch of honey sticks 2 days before the show, and I got business cards, and I stapled all the honey sticks to business cards. So that was the first one, and then as we've been doing it now, it just took a business card and redid it, so it's the length of a honey straw. And so we give these honey straws away to everybody, and then we have a paint can that we put our own label on that's at every paint store. And if there's a designer that wants it, you want it, we'll put it in your thing. We have it at realtor offices, paint stores. That's where we have it. So it just has these stuffed in there. And so part of my weekly rounds and my out and about is going in and stuffing the cans with these things. And people do hey, can we sweeten the offer for you or give you a review? You give them a pint of honey if they leave us a Google review.
It is. I love that. That strategy, whenever you first mentioned that, I fell in love with it immediately. I think it's great. It's unique. You're not selling a service at that point, you're selling an experience. And I think that's really the mindset you need to go into whenever you're trying to sell a job. It's everybody paints, but how is your experience different than the next guy? And actually, let's talk about that. What does your sales process typically look like? You get a phone call, you go out, do an estimate. How does that start? Let's just 30,000 foot view, start to finish.
Honestly, transparently, my sales process is haphazard at best right now. We've been in a process of changing some things. We're at that point we have to change some software because it doesn't work anymore. It's reached its limitation. So we've been using Paint Scout for a long time, which I know can get us to another level. It's just I don't want to do what needs to be done to get there. So I'm trying to find something else that can. So we've been kind of toying with 2 other softwares. I haven't committed to which one yet, but that'll kind of help in some of the automations. I don't use Zapier as much as I could. I haven't taken time to learn that. I know with being a Base Coat, we have access to Base Coat Marketing, the CRM that's built in there. And so I know I drive everyone at Base Coat crazy with my emails and, hey, how does this work? Because, there's so much in there to learn and it's time consuming. So I'll send an email. I couldn't get this to work. I couldn't get that. And Caitlin has been great answering emails on, I'll get an answer for you. So I know there's a lot in there that can make us better. And so I just want to be able to refine that process, make it simple, make it easy, duplicatable. So right now it's people call us, we try and answer the phone. Our goal is to always answer the phone because the biggest reason is Google local service ads. If you answer the phone, they put you to the top of their list as part of their ranking process. So if it just rings or goes to whatever, it seems like they deduct you for that because we have a really high rating, and I didn't think I'm doing anything different, but everyone says, well, you're answering the phone.
Yep.
So that they actually told me that on the phone too. People that answer the phone, even if it's an automated service, something answering the phone, they will rank you higher. So, sorry, I got distracted on that one. So yeah, answering the phone, you guys have created the bots and the scheduling through Calendly, where it goes into our calendar, which goes into the CRM, which gets a thank you for scheduling. I get a follow up 24 hours before that we're coming. They get a text 12 hours, 1 hour before that, hey, we're going to be there in an hour. Within Paint Scout, I really like Paint Scout, which has the production rates. It's really simple and quick to use, but some of the other stuff it doesn't have, but kind of a trade-off. Documents are emailed and text. They're followed up after we send them. So there's an automation you guys set up for us. So once that they are put into that consideration bucket, they get an email and they get a text message, and we are working with Caitlin to set up a voicemail bot. So just to kind of send a voicemail also, that way we're getting them 3 ways. And then we follow up with them again in 12 hours. I physically call them the next day to make sure they got it. And then there's just a series of follow-ups after that. Knowing where they got the lead from is probably, for us, is the most critical thing, because if they start off with, hey, I saw your video, I'm telling you right now, the sales rate on that is 90s plus. It's insane that people, when they see a video, almost always they're sold. It's a rarity that I don't sell a job if someone says, I saw you on YouTube or I saw your video.
It's incredible. It is. And that's part of the power behind pulling in leads organically. You're not selling them, you're bringing them in. It's an inbound marketing tactic that high effort, high reward. Obviously, there's a lot of strategy behind it. I think that's what really sets you apart from others that may have just tried it and gave up, because it's something that you can't just dabble in. You have to go all in on that, right? But it works. And it's great.
And it's a long game. Yeah, this is nothing. It's not like you're turning on a Facebook ad and expecting something. It's long. That whole theory of what marketing I do today, it's very humbling knowing that the fruit of that, it's months before that really is going to take place. It's not like sending out a postcard. It takes a while for that really to come to fruition. I think, someone gave me advice, kind of like when we were building our business, they're hiring you because you do it how they want it done. So everyone paints differently to an extent. Everyone does their business differently. So people just want to know who you are. So that's why we want to bring our employees involved in that. Again, to build that trust. We have a page with our employees. They have we want to do videos, they won't do them. But we have their picture and a little bio on it. This is who's coming to your house. So by me videotaping them, it's kind of me getting around their fear of camera a little bit. But again, building trust. Everyone can paint cabinets, but this is our process of doing cabinets. These are our products. So, if you are interested in helping your community, well, when you hire us, you're helping a person, and that's the biggest thing. Every home we paint is a person that we help. So you want to hire us, you're helping someone in your neighborhood, you're helping a victim of sexual trafficking, you're helping a girl that's been sexually abused, attend a youth camp to help them improve the rest of their life. You can hire someone else that's going to come and show up. We're not for everybody. We're looking for the 10% that want to make a difference. They're looking for that 10% that can afford our service, and I'm looking for that. And it can be frustrating, but at the end of the day, it's satisfying when we get those right customers.
It's so great when, you have a mission, you have an ideal customer profile that, if you can land that, you're going to be helping not only your own family, but somebody else. And there is no better way to sleep at night than with that mentality. I love it. So we've talked about some of your marketing strategies. Something that pairs really well with that is your incentives. Now, you have some pretty unique incentives that you've run throughout the year. We just talked about some of that on one of our mastermind calls here recently, especially relating to, there we go, got you back. Okay, so especially relating to thought process of maybe offering discounts or incentives for using subs and telling your prospects that. And, I think we also talked about what did you call it? The Monday campaign for whenever you
This shit Monday.
Let's talk about some of those because again, they're very unique amongst our clients and what they have run in the past. Painter for a Day comes to mind. Let's dive into that rabbit hole.
I can't take credit for Painter for a Day because that's Josh Abramson. I can't remember the guy's last name. Albright Painting out in California. That's him 100%. So that's where we use that. But, some of the stuff is honestly, stuff that wakes me up in the middle of the night. This Tint Monday was just one of those things where you got stupid gallons of paint sitting here left over because the customer wanted flat. And then for whatever reason, we got eggshell. So now we got 6 gallons of paint. What the crap am I going to do with this? No one wants this color. So as I was staying in the Sherwin-Williams, I'm looking at these gallons. And then that morning, it was Miss Tint Monday. So I went in, I took videos of how much are these a piece. I started every Monday now. I have pictures throughout the week, and I do a video or a post, Miss Tint Monday. You hire us to do the work. Materials are going to be free because these are all Miss Tints, and we can get them pretty much for free from Sherwin-Williams. So you can save up to 12% on your paint job by using Miss Tints. We're working on a job right now, and it was all Miss Tints. So 17 gallons of paint were all Miss Tints because they didn't really have a preference, and we just got lucky. They had ceiling paint that was supposed to be white Dove, and they did Dove white. No difference, but that's what the customer wanted. So I got 10 gallons of ceiling paint for, I think it was $8. 10 gallons of ceiling paint for $8. And then, popular colors, the customer wanted eggshell, they got flat. Well, it's a Miss Tint for them. So we just are taking advantage of that, and we're helping Sherwin-Williams in the process because they help us so much. So we are kind of trying to reciprocate that too. Then with our paint cans, so this week's thing was, tag us for, I can't remember, tag us for a gallon basically. So here's a picture in our paint can with all the colors in the back. Hey, tag us with this can, with this background on our Facebook page, and I'll give you a gallon of paint on your next paint job. And then we're doing a pumpkin thing this month. So this was Painted Pumpkin month. Painted pumpkin, I'll give you a carving pumpkin for free.
I love that.
So we've been every day. Here's our wagon out front. Here's the pumpkins that are left. There's only 10. So you'll come in and get a free carving pumpkin and show us your painted one for free. If you tag us on Facebook, we're going to give away a bedroom at the end of the month. So whoever tags us with a painted pumpkin, you get 1 entry. If you tag us on Facebook, you get 2 if you take a picture here in front of our hay wagon. But at the end of the month, whoever wins is going to get a free bedroom painted. And then I was at Sherwin yesterday, and they had, it's an industrial store for the most part, but they had these, he said, we got some really ugly ones back here. I'm like, oh, let's see them. Well, they had blue and orange. No, I am not endorsing the Chicago Bears in any way, shape, or form at all. However, those are Chicago Bear colors. So, for November, here's paint a Chicago Bears room, paint is free. And it's the Bears colors, so why not? There'll be somebody that's going to want something painted in Chicago Bears colors.
Absolutely. I couldn't, that's to each their own. I am not a Bears fan either. I am from Pittsburgh, so it's not like we're doing very much this year, but I feel that. Okay, so by the way, I love those strategies. I love the creativity behind them, and they're just so low effort, high reward. I think that's what makes a lot of this scalable. Another thing I wanted to bring up here is the fact that you have over 150 reviews on your Google business profile. You mentioned the pickup rate being a ranking factor for local services ads. That is absolutely correct. It's one of the most important ranking factors, in fact, only second to your reputation online. So most of our clients struggle to get reviews, and we have a training process and an SOP that we recommend putting in place. But let's talk about your strategy. Bottom line, how do you get reviews on that business profile?
If anyone thinks it's easy, don't think that. It sucks. And I'm not going to, there's nothing easy about it. I know you can have your process in place, but people will leave the negative before they'll ever leave the positive. So you really have to work in order to get it. So we give away, it's knowing your customer. So, when you're doing that walkthrough, you're going to know what's most important to them. So some of them, they rave about that honey stick. Well, I know I'm going to get a Google review if I give them a jar of honey. So That's what I'm selling to them. Other people, they're more worried about, how much is it going to cost? Okay, well, you give me a Google review before we walk out that door, I'm taking $75 off your final. So finding that pain point for what every customer needs, it's either going to be money or honey, one of the two. And once they have that, it's just leveraging it and pushing that button. And then I have the employees do it also. Hey, we get a bonus if you do a Google review for us. So they get a bonus from the job, and an end of year bonus, the person that gets mentioned the most on their Google reviews gets a bonus also. So I try and push our employees to push it. So we have a QR code on the business cards, the QR codes on the work order, the QR codes on the estimate. When they're doing the walkthrough, there's a QR code for it. So we leave it multiple times. So we make it as easy as possible. If they say, I don't know how, if you got a minute, I'll show you how easy this is, because every local business needs this. So I promote it. Yeah, you're helping us, but here, let me show you how you can help other businesses do a review for them and help them too, if someone else that you like. So I just show them how easy it is to do it. And I said, if you have your phone and you have Google Maps, it literally is going to take you 20 seconds to do this review. And once you show them how easy it is, they're sold, because you'll see them doing reviews for other people too.
I think you brought up a good point. You capture those reviews before you walk out of that house. Is that right?
That's the goal. It doesn't always work, but that's the goal.
Yeah. I mean, look, I think a lot of people have the mistaken mentality of, oh, I can just shoot them a text afterwards and a reminder email. It doesn't work like that. Like, I myself recently found myself in a position where I had a contractor come out. They knocked it out of the park. I guaranteed I would leave him a review online, and I got busy and I forgot. And it didn't occur to me until a month later. I never left that review. So I went on there and immediately left him a glowing review. But it's only because I remembered. And it's a lot of people just get busy, and it's not personal. They don't mean to leave you, or they don't mean to overlook the fact that they're not leaving you a review online. But it's just that capturing it before you walk away increases the likelihood of that happening versus walking away and trying to capture it later and being reactive.
I think there's a mental aspect of that also. You can, BNI says givers gain. If you go through the Bible, do unto others. So they have mindset. So one thing we do is we do video reviews for other companies and post them on our YouTube channel, and I send them the link. So like people have done our graphics, hey, you got a second? I go outside, I turn that camera on, and it's instant. I'm doing a video. Hey, I'm here with so-and-so. They do our business cards. I just want to do a quick shout out. If you need business cards, whatever, you got to come and see these guys. Send them the link, post it on our YouTube channel, and post it on our stuff. If people see us doing reviews and, that whole mentality of I'm trying to help other people and promote other people, it's a lot easier to ask when you're not asking to ask. You're not asking, to get something out of it. You're asking to help other people. If you have that mindset that this is how you're helping others, it is reciprocated. You can't ask for a review every time you go, but never leave a review for anybody else.
Right.
It's going nowhere.
Yeah. And I think your whole mentality of give, knowing that it'll come back around, right? It's giving without expecting anything in return. That mentality is not only so positive, but it works. And on a number of different levels. So it's fantastic. David, we went over a lot today between your marketing strategy, how you got started, what kind of offers you use to attract new prospects. If you had to have one big last greatest insight, like if you could scream from the mountaintop, one key insight for anybody looking to scale their business to where you are at today, what would that be?
With the right help. You can't do it on your own. My wife is my biggest supporter, biggest ally. If I didn't have her, we would not be where we're at, for sure. You got to have that person. My wife is great, is awesome, beyond great. She's awesome at just making sure, we succeed in how we do things. But, business-wise, you got to have those people in your life, mastermind groups, friends groups, accountability groups, other people that you can bounce stuff off of, because you never know what's going to transcend. Just because, the painted pumpkin, I did it because I was by a pumpkin farm. So, well, if they can do it, I can do it too. So, I mean, being open, leaning into other people, and you're not going to do it by yourself. That's probably my biggest thing.
David, I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to be here, man. Very much appreciated. We will have you back on in the future. Meantime, if anybody wants to explore more about DeFranco Painting, please go to DeFrancoPaintingandWallpaper.com. Thank you again, David.
Yeah, you guys are welcome.